Okay, it should be live now.
Hello and welcome to the SEESCast. I am your host, Joe, whether you like it or not. I'm certain many people don't. And we have Harry, Scrappy, and Lewis for once. Today we're going to be talking about the 6th generations of consoles.
Bro, you say like I've never been on a SEESCast episode before.
You've been on one.
I still won.
I've been on more Seas Brain podcasts than you could imagine.
I don't care.
Immediately start with a civil war.
Let's go.
My neighbors just had to start like trimming their grass right now.
That's fair.
I'm going to choose to believe that's a euphemism.
You do that, bro. You do that. So,
Did I miss something?
No.
So, for those
Stay
unaware,
innocent.
the 6th generation of consoles is the Dreamcast, the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, and the Xbox. And if we really want to be pedantic about it, we're also going to include the PSP and the Game Boy Advance in that because they were released around the exact same time.
Right,
God, the PSP was a good console.
I wasn't even considering
If you want to be really go on, Harry.
No, I was gonna say I didn't think we would be including handhelds in this as well, but I mean,
we can just focus on the big four.
If you want to be really pedantic, the PSP is a 7th gen system.
when did it come out?
It's basically PSP, Nintendo, DS.
Okay, it's just Game Boy Advance.
Technologically, they're more in line, but even still, the PSP outstripped the DS until fucking 3DS.
Well,
Anyway.
outstripped in what sense?
Technological.
Oh, yeah, fair.
After that, it's debatable what's better. You can either go hard specs or you can go age of technology. You get a different answer either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the 7th generation with the PS3 and the 360.
The funny
And the Wii, bro.
The start of the funny HD era.
We would like to play. No, we're not doing a 7th console. We're not doing 7th consoles.
I mean,
not yet.
I mean, we could. There'd probably be a lot.
This took 2 months to get you guys in a single room to communicate about. I'm not doing it again.
I mean, there's a lot to say about 7th gen, but like that can be saved.
There's a lot to say about 6th gen.
There's a lot to there's a lot to say about 6th gen. Like we can save that for later. But
we'll definitely do some other topics before that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, obviously not right away, but so how do we want to start this exactly?
Well, we're just gonna sit here while I yap for the next 3 hours about Metal Arms glitching. No,
I'm not doing that for 3 hours. I have work tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is your job now.
Yeah.
You wish.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
real.
Like who exactly wants to start here and like what? Yeah. How? What was the like first?
We could just freeform it. Like
Yeah.
we probably. I don't think we have to do it in like any fixed kind of order.
Yeah, that's
really.
fine. I'm just wondering like what's the first thing on the docket we want to say.
One thing I do want to say off the bat is I didn't get started with the 6th generation until like 2007.
Oh,
so that's
wow.
basically the end of the GameCube's life cycle, according to what Scrappy posted.
Well, it's pretty much. I mean, the Wii was like the late was it late 2006? So
based on what Scrappy put here, which I'm guessing is based on a Google post saying the PlayStation 2 was 2000 to 2013. That's not true. They were still releasing PS2 games in 2018.
What? Oh wait, let me guess. Was it Just Dance?
FIFA.
Yeah, wasn't that some FIFA game? Yeah.
Of course, it was FIFA.
But yeah,
Brazil.
I do have to wonder if the Wii being underpowered compared to the competition at the time indirectly made the PS2 last longer, because it's like, oh, the Wii's popular, the PS2's also has a crazy install base, and like we just kind of need to downport the game like a bit to make it run on a PS2. So
let's just strain our PS2 development kits. They've been going at it since like 2000, but still, let's do it.
Like, I just have to wonder about that a little bit.
I mean, you've also got to think a quarter of the PS2 install base was the fact that it was cheaper than a DVD player, and it was a player.
Yeah, I mean the fact that I guess you that's one thing to mention. The fact that like the PS2 was pretty much just a dominating console that generation, and
Mm.
a good chunk of it, well maybe, um, a good portion of it, I suppose, is the fact that you get the game, or you get the console, and you have games you can play on it, but you can also use it as a DVD player. So it's just like, oh, the kids get something to play, but we also the adults or like the parents or whatever get to watch movies on it. It's like, it's
And the kids could watch Shrek on it.
yeah. So it's just kind of that was like a really massive deal at the time. Like
The funny thing is, the PS2 Slim was actually a really bad DVD player because it just wouldn't run most DVDs.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know why. It just wouldn't read them. Brand new DVDs as well, just
Yeah.
wouldn't read them.
Yeah, I don't know from experience how the PS2 plays, how well the DVD player was on it, but I know my sisters used it for that quite often.
I mean, they were trying to do the same thing with the PS3 and make that a Blu-ray player, but we'll talk more about that like another month.
Yeah.
when we do our 7th gen episode, of course.
I mean,
Christmas special.
definitely. I mean, I definitely like that Sony did the whole Blu-ray player thing as well, because I almost use my PS5 for Blu-ray stuff just as much as I do it for actual gaming. So
I also know that it didn't work on a financial basis, but anyway,
yeah,
they tried to invent the wheel 3 times. It worked
Sounds-
twice.
Sounds about right. But there was also the Dreamcast, which actually kicked off the 6th generation.
yeah.
Yes!
When was the Dreamcast?
98.
1998.
Damn.
A bit before I was born.
So I don't know that much about the Dreamcast other than like it only had like a few years before it got discontinued, but it's like a cult classic to a lot of people.
Oh, it is.
And like a lot of fan favorite games came from it.
RuneScape!
There's still some sort of. There's still
not
like a. This. Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm not joking. RuneScape was on the Dreamcast.
That's funny.
Or at
as
the very
hell.
least, you could play RuneScape. It
But
wasn't
it's the-
explicitly on the Dreamcast.
It was Dreamcast.
Dreamcast.
But I was saying, yes, the Dreamcast also has a pretty prominent like homebrew community around it as well. Even some like homebrew games being released for it now as well. So
Saw that a lot more with the PS1 though.
Mm.
But then
I
it
know
was
that-
outright encouraged.
Right.
mhm. It's funny that Rare started as like like technically started as a homebrew thing before they got hired by Nintendo to be a second party development studio.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Rockstar were 5 guys in college that pulled
Five
their money
guys?
to rent an office.
Mm. And you always
And then they made Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto 2 and Grand Theft Auto London.
Yeah, let's go back to like that for a second. Like the like the sixth generation in general, just had like the looming shadow of Grand Theft Auto's like
The good
third,
ones.
fourth. Yes, the first foot. Are you trying to imply that GTA 1, London, and 2 are bad?
I'm trying to imply that if I showed anyone the games without showing the title, they'd think, what the fuck is this shit? They
Very-
have more in common with the first level of Action Man for the PS1 than they do with Grand Theft Auto 3.
Aren't the original GTA games like top down or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
they were the ones I started with.
Okay.
Never played them.
I mean, again,
Actually,
you got to
pretty
start
fun.
somewhere. Like you got there's like I imagine back in the day, like the original GTA's was still like a massive deal. Like they Or maybe I
They
don't
were
know. But
they were arcadey enough, and they kind of fit in line with more teenager arcade sort of environment.
right. I mean, I guess there's also the fact that during that time, um, like massive open world games in the style of GTA weren't exactly the norm yet. Like there were obviously like big open games, but not to that level.
There is no way you could put a 3D GTA style game on the PS1.
Exactly, yeah. So again, you had to
It's just not possible.
you just
I think I think
yeah.
the only big ones, I think the only big games like that out at the time were like Driver 1 and 2, which is and then when San Andreas was coming out, like Infogrames developers were desperately trying to get like Driver 3 out to compete with it, but then they rushed it out and it wasn't great.
Yeah, I'm glad you in the chat. I'm glad you mentioned the rare thing with Xbox, Nova. We'll definitely get to that when we talk about the Xbox. But the
That's
yeah,
8th gen.
no, they
Oh no, that's 7th
yeah,
gen.
no,
No.
rare,
It was as early as 6th gen.
yeah, rare went to Xbox with the first console.
That's why Conquer Live and Reloaded was on the original Xbox.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess we'll just like talk about the PS2 first. Like just general like feelings and experiences with it, since we're like just on that topic at the moment. I assume Joey has the most to say about this one, so
I have so much to say.
yeah,
You may as well start then. We'll probably bounce off you.
yeah.
So my first console was, as in my console, not the first console I had access to, which I didn't really even have access to,
It was like your
was the PS2.
It's like this is the one you have. Like this is like
Like
yours.
Yeah.
it was a fat model PS2,
Mm-hmm.
and it was great. My first games that I was given, and this is a very cursed list of games. It was the original Crash 4.
Ah,
Oh no, Wrath of Cortex.
yeah.
That's the best one in the list, by the way.
Oh no!
Yeah.
That's tragic.
I'll tell you what. I'll go down in my opinion from best to worst.
Okay. I already know where this is going, Joe. Are you going to be talking about Phoenix games?
Oh no.
No, it was never that bad. I didn't know
Okay.
about Phoenix games until late into the PlayStation 2 Slimline, and the fact that it almost set one on fire. Anyway,
Huh.
fucking dinosaurs. Anyway, the second game, and we're going down in quality,
From Wrath of
is
Cortex.
so from Wrath of Cortex to Harry Potter and the Quidditch World Cup.
Oh. I've heard that was one people liked.
I've played it again recently. The game's awful, and if you lose, you're trying to.
Huh.
Yeah, the game's bad.
So the game is just like brain dead?
It's bad.
That just reminds me of very much of this like football game for the Master System, where it was so badly programmed that you didn't even need to go to the other side of the pitch to score a goal. You could own goal and still get a point. It was that badly programmed.
That's hilarious, dude.
I know exactly what was wrong with the programming just on that. I'll get to that in a minute. And the third game, a game so terrible it brings a shiver to your spine.
I think I might know what it is.
Oh no.
Spyro Dragonfly.
Oh, that okay, yeah.
It wasn't the other one, which I hate with a burning passion because it actually broke some of my hardware.
When a game breaks a console, that game is definitely badly programmed.
Yeah, that game was called Spyro Heroes Tale.
Yeah, that's the game I thought you were gonna mention.
That is my absolute worst game on the PlayStation 2. Before you go into, is it even a game?
Yeah.
I have to clarify that because Phoenix. Snow White and the Seven Clever Little Boys. No.
Thanks, Caddy.
They couldn't nail that to my corpse and have me still want to be in physical contact with it.
I mean, I've never played Hero's Tale. It's
Hero's Tale is an interesting game. However, on the PS2, the save function is very broken.
from what I've seen of it, the game itself doesn't look too bad. It's just the fact that
The game's
the
mid.
the game itself just like caused problems with your system.
The game is a solid 3 out of 10 at best.
Oh, that's that's rough.
Oh, wow.
I don't even think I'd give Sonic 06 that like that low of a score.
Yeah, I really don't like Hero's Tale, even putting my problems with it aside. I still think it's a 3.5 at the absolute best.
Fair enough, I
It
guess.
is it's not an average game. It is bad. And I will get hate for that. But like
I mean, I
it's
don't know
not a
how
good
people
game.
feel about that game.
The people that like it tend to have played it on the Xbox.
Ah,
Why?
But I still
So-
don't think that having the game work is enough to save it.
fair. I've heard the comparison that it's like the Twin Sanity of Spyro.
Twin Sanity's a better game.
I mean, I don't doubt that, but I think it's more due to the game structure.
Twin Sanity problems aside is still 5.5 to a 6.
These are like very harsh ratings right now. God damn.
I grew up with this shit. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
not only do I have a chip on the shoulder, they put the chip there that everything else has been digging deeper into since.
So what did I miss?
oh hi.
We're talking about some of the most mid, if not games in the PlayStation library.
Okay, well, I wouldn't say. Okay, no, I wouldn't say Twin Sanity is mid.
Well,
Come
then.
on.
No, Twin Sanity's not mid. Twin Sanity is, quite frankly, genius. The writing is fantastic. It's a shame it was rushed. If it wasn't rushed, solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
I've got that game in my library. I really need to put it in and fucking
fact-
play it. But I want to
fact
get
that
through
the game-
the Insane Trilogy first.
The fact that the game is missing half of the game, that's why I give it a 5.5 to a 6.
It's yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just like how many I just like how that game expands on the Crash formula, and it's not just a repeat of the trilogy like Wrath of Cortex was.
Oh yeah, it was an absolute step in the right direction. It just got fucked by the publisher.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of issues with that. It's they originally planned the game to be completely different, and then they got cold feet because they didn't want to be seen as like a copycat of Ratchet and Clank, so they completely changed their like design for the game, and by that point they only had like a year or so left, so they kind of just had to scramble.
That, and to be fair, the game took forever to actually start real development because their time started when they were told to make a Crash game, not when they actually had a valid concept to even start making a Crash game.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Spyro Hero's Tale. The problem I have with it is, I had one of those rare see-through blue PlayStation 2 memory cards, 8 meg. The game not only saved a corrupted file onto my memory card, I couldn't delete the corrupted file in the memory card because the memory card read an error on attempt, and then proceeded to corrupt every save on my memory card.
God
Oh,
damn.
no.
Yeah, that would piss me off as well.
Which
I
then
feel like
it additionally
I-
would corrupt any extra
Yeah, but-
game that I tried to save on it, instantly
Mhm.
and filled the memory card entirely with corrupted data.
Damn.
So not only was it just reading corrupted, the data was there, but broken for everything.
Damn, dude. That's rough.
Why is it that I feel like most horror stories of like data issues always seem to come from the PS2?
Mm.
PS2 era. That's when
The
data
PS2
was going
was
through a
a
phase.
console.
Like I have some issues. I had some issues with my GameCube memory card around 2006, but
I
have never heard a story since my experience with Hero's Tale on PS2 saving, breaking my memory card as bad as what I've just described.
the only issue.
Down your old farts and let Scrappy tell y'all a story.
Oh, okay, okay, sure.
So 2006, I was a youngin', still had my GameCube. I think we'd sold our Xbox, it stopped working like months beforehand. Also, this is about as clear as you're gonna hear me. I'm not holding my good mic.
It's fine.
Hurt. And
We take what
Yeah.
we can get.
it was around probably said like late summer, early-ish fall, and yeah, my GameCube memory card just stopped working, and we had to buy a new used one. And yeah, that was technology is just I'll never understand technology. I definitely didn't understand it back then. So yeah, just thank goodness we could drive to a GameStop.
Yeah.
Technically, those memory cards and the technology behind it was the first version of NVMe.
I'm gonna pretend I know what that means.
Digital data storage rather than physical data storage.
Well, today I learned. Thank you. And
The difference is it saved on a spinning disk or is it saved on a chip?
Mm.
today I learned. So we bought that. A new used memory card and delete the file footage, the storage on that one, because there were still some saved files.
Yeah, because back in those days, they didn't frickin' make sure that data was wiped off of consoles.
Oh, what's this? BMX XXX? No, that did not happen to me, thank goodness. But
I swear to God, I saw that in store the other day.
Was this when?
but I think what was the game we were trying to play?
No.
Honestly, it might have been Lego Star Wars 2 or Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects. That's a blast for the past right there. But yeah, we had to get that sorted out, and that was the last memory card we used for the remainder of our time with the GameCube. Yeah, it worked. It did work, so that's my little anecdote.
I do miss actually owning a GameCube, but I think our one just kind of broke unexpectedly one day. And that, yeah, I don't really have many issues with the GameCube system itself up until that point. I do remember having a lot of balked GameCube controllers though. Like, I have a lot of them probably still lying around somewhere that just don't work anymore, or there's something just extremely wrong with it. So that kind of sucks. But yeah.
Aside from the day one memory card I got, day one from when my brother procured the system, it was not a launch console. Aside from the memory card, nothing really GameCube related broke, except our copy of Melee just stopped working in 2007, I think.
Oh
No,
wow.
we lost our copy of Melee in 2007. It just disappeared. So
Sakurai went to your house specifically and just like, you're not allowed to play this game anymore. Play Brawl instead.
I mean, I would have been fine if Brawl had actually launched in 2007 like it was supposed to. Thanks, Sonic. Friggin' rat.
GameCube disc scratched so easily. Yeah, there's yeah.
But they were mini DVDs, weren't they?
Yeah.
Ostensibly, like
Half the storage space and genuinely more fragile.
Heaven help you if you had to drop those things between like a vent grate in your house.
Yeah. That's Nintendo really shot themselves in the foot with that because the thing with the mini discs is that I think they wanted to do that to try and prevent piracy or something.
Yes, they wanted to stop people from being able to burn discs.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If you have an old disk drive in your rig, because you might do, you'll notice that there are two tiers of tray in your disk. A regular disk, size disk, and a smaller one.
Mhm.
They use the secondary standard form of media, and yes, because it's the non-standard standard media, no one will ever be able to copy our file.
Yeah. 'Cause the thing is as well that that like just the fact that the PS2 has the DVD player as well just made it like just inherently just have a massive advantage. And then there's the fact that the because of the mini disc size, even though hardware specs wise, the GameCube was more powerful than the PS2. The fact that it couldn't store as much data on the disc, kind of had that had them at a bit of a net loss, I guess, because it's just like a lot of games just wouldn't be able to fit on it without having multiple discs or just just struggling to do it in general.
It should be known Nintendo's paranoia or greed was not entirely unfounded. The
Yeah.
Dreamcast had
Let's put it
the
this way:
Dreamcast,
yeah,
the
you're
Dreamcast
about to
was
say the
cracked
Dreamcast.
open by pirates, from what I've heard.
It was like near enough day one, like it was
Right.
cracked open, and then that's what got Nintendo's attention, and then they thought, no, we don't want to end up having to put up with this because the Dreamcast suffered because of this apparently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like when people tell you that piracy can probably end up hurting a console, like the Dreamcast is a good reason why that could happen. Like
Oh,
the Dreamcast is a good lesson.
I thought piracy was actually a good thing. No, I'm kidding.
Piracy is interesting how it impacts media industries.
Right.
I'm not 100% against piracy because I've seen the good it can do.
There's some good it can do, yeah, but like it can also cause
The
massive problems.
the most important positive for piracy is game preservation.
Absolutely, yeah. I definitely agree with that. Yeah,
That's the big one right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And especially as we enter an all digital world where things literally just be fan off of the internet, we kind of need it more than ever today.
Mm-hmm.
However, I know that there are piracy communities out there on the internet that, yes, this is the day that game launches. How fast can we crack it?
Yeah.
That's not the negative side of it. The negative side of it is, well, now we've cracked it, we might as well stick it on Booty Bay.
Yeah.
You see, I've covered my ass because I didn't say what the website's actually called, as it proceeds to get banned for the second time.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that website was still around, but TIL. Which one? Okay, it didn't exactly help help Nintendo in the long run because it still got cracked open.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's also funny because the GameCube is like one of the best, has one of the best emulators like in general right now. So
I have a friend that plays all of his Switch games on his PC. He doesn't own a Switch, has zero intention of buying a Switch, has beaten both of the Legend of Zelda games that came out on it.
wow.
The mainline ones, not the other ones. I still need to finish Talk.
Yeah.
Did you want to finish Tick?
I have seen the tick. It's on Amazon.
TikTok clock.
Lol.
I'm on that as well.
Yeah. Anyways, back to PS2 talk then.
So, did we talk about the tragic destruction of the Dreamcast yet, or
we haven't talked about the Dreamcast at all. We kind of just started talking about PS2 stuff, so I was just like, we may as well just talk about our feelings towards it and experiences while we're on that. I don't know.
Do you guys want to talk about positive experiences with the PS2?
I mean, I assume you'd have a lot.
My positive experiences from the PS2 start from the beginning and end. I'm still having positive experiences with the PS2.
I mean, to be fair, they did have a really banger games library.
Yeah,
Like,
I probably have.
Go on.
No, I was just. I probably have the least to say about PS2 out of all of us, probably.
You probably do. I probably have the lead.
It was mostly my sister's. It was a console that was.
It was a DVD player in the pink room.
Yeah, it was in my sister's room. They used it for movies and stuff, and sometimes they had some quiz games. They had some singing.
Oh, they had Buzz.
Yeah, I think they had Buzz. They had a bunch of like karaoke games and all that. That's the kind of stuff they would do. They would play. I don't know if we owned any Guitar Heroes from the PS2, but yeah, anytime I wanted to use the thing, I would have to just get permission from them because it was in their room and I couldn't exactly just barge in whenever I wanted. So like sometimes when I would just play the thing too much, they would just tell me to get out.
Fair.
That was pretty good.
Mood.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of specific game memories with it because I didn't play the PS2 that much, but the most I can think of is like right now is the Lego Star Wars games. I specifically remember when the first Lego Star Wars came out, and like I came home from school one day, and my brother just showed me that the game arrived just in my face and didn't say anything, and then we just ran upstairs to play it immediately. That's probably the best memory I have of the PS2, but yeah, I don't know. It's a really good system. I like for nowadays I have played a lot more classics that the console has to offer, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of want to get more for me PS2. Like I've got Devil May Cry, but I've also got Devil May Cry on my Switch, so that's where I've been playing that.
I have Devil May Cry and Devil May Cry 2.
Devil May Cry 2 is shit.
I mean,
it's not great.
They didn't scream at me, Nova. It's like it's still their room, so like they want to do their own stuff. Like I can't fault them for that.
You can't fault that, yeah. But there's also stuff like what was it? Yeah, you got your Gran Turismo's like like Gran Turismo 3 and 4 in particular. Just actually no, yeah, GT4 like absolutely it's like a legendary racing game at this point. When a lot of people talk about like legendary games in the racing genre, like Gran Turismo 4 is always going to be one like to go back to. But there's also stuff. There's also games like Burnout, like the original Burnout. You got your Burnout 2, Burnout Revenge, Burnout 3 Takedown. Like those are
Burnout Rising Revengeance.
Yeah.
Remember when we could get like multiple games in a series on the same generation?
Oh yeah, that's like the 6th generation was like the king of that.
Oh yeah. And that's not even because the 6th generation didn't die until 2020.
It's more of a
half true.
Yeah, but it's more of a case of the games weren't in HD development, so they were still, the budget wasn't stupidly high, so they could afford and have the time to make multiple sequels in the same generation. That's why we had Jack 123, Sly 123, Ratchet 123, and 4 technically.
I mean,
Jack 3 was actually. Jack 3 was actually really heavily undercrowded, really pushed the console to its memory capacity on the disc.
That would make sense, yeah. Jack 3...
like, that game was supposed to be bigger.
Yeah, as much as I really did enjoy Jack 3, it does come across as it does feel like it was a bit rushed.
And then there's like the big ones, like the big one, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about that
Oh, yeah.
briefly earlier, but like to have three massive games like that on the same console in the same generation, because Xbox also had those games on it as well. Not even going to mention the fan-made Dreamcast port of GTA 3, but that's beside the point. But yeah, like three massive games like that on the same console. You don't hear about that nowadays. Like,
Yeah.
And now
you
we
get
have Grand Theft
7
Auto 5 3 times.
Yeah. I think that's one thing
Yeah.
Hog.
I wanted to say
I still
about
need to finish it for stream.
about the 6th gen
It was-
consoles in general is just this is probably my favorite console generation overall because the amount of games coming out it's just a high library of games, and the amount of just variety and creativity from just all sides was just incredible.
Yeah.
And it was at a point where again games weren't in HD, so it wasn't like ridiculously straining on devs yet. And I don't know, it was I kind of really like the generation from they have like a specific graphical style that just is really appealing as well.
Yeah, it's not okay. I'd say three. Let's say three GTA games on the PS2. Actually, make that five because
That's insane.
there was also there was also
6.
Liberty City Stories and Vice City. Hang on, what was the seventh? What was the sixth one?
GTA 3,
Yes.
Played one of those PSP.
San Andreas,
Mm-hmm.
Liberty City,
Mm-hmm.
Rockstar's run on
The
the
Two
PS2
Stories
is actually pretty
games.
impressive, all things considered.
Yeah.
and I miscounted. There might be a 6th, though.
I don't recall a sixth. The only other GTA game I think came around at that time is Chinatown Wars, but that's
I mean,
but that was on
That's DS.
that was PSP and DS.
I mean, still though, the fact that that's meant there's that many GTA games on one console generation is like crazy to think about now.
That being said, Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories kind of had it easier because like they could already reuse the maps and the collision data from like GTA 3 and Vice City, so it was they were easier to develop. All they needed to do was just put like different missions, different characters and stuff like that into the game itself. So it was
Yeah. I thought.
I still need to beat the classic Grand Theft Auto games. I've played all of them, definitely.
fun ones.
Liberty... No, not Liberty.
When you say
Vice City
classic,
is the game I've played the absolute least, followed by... 4.
San Andreas was a near phenomenon with how much you can do in the game. Yeah, I do remember San Andreas being like the talk of the town.
Driver 3 suffered because of that game, but it was their own
Everything
fault.
suffered.
Look at it now. We've got GTA 6 coming out, and people are still fucking trying to like holding fire on release dates because they don't want to end up getting fucked by Rockstar.
That game got multi-released like every other year because people were still buying new prints of the game.
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
San Andreas.
Oh.
Yeah, because they had a regular edition. They had like Platinum Hits one.
Yep,
they had-
regular platinum. And then they did just do, I think after platinum, they did another printing of regular edition.
I know there was two versions of it on two prints of it on the Xbox as well. So
The Xbox did do their own sort of greatest hits platinum sort of thing.
yeah, that's the one I have.
Yeah, because
So
they did that for
I
Halo
don't know
2.
where the hell it's gone. Oh yeah, Halo 2 is like
They definitely
we'll get
did
to
that Halo
Xbox.
1.
Yeah.
We'll get
Halo
to
3 got a fucking reprint.
I kind of yeah. I was Scrappy, were you gonna say stuff about PS2 a minute ago, Scrappy?
Scrappy?
I have exactly 2 tabs open on Google Chrome, which, if nobody's here, hi, yeah, no, I know the problem.
Yeah,
I know
he's
the
in
problem
the chat
itself
right
is
now.
Google Chrome. But yeah, I don't have Twitch open because I'm trying to at least keep my internet from breaking, and it's still breaking. So
I mean, you don't really need to have
I've been
the
cutting it down.
stream up.
Oh my god, how many hours would a San Andreas?
Whatever it is you're saying.
Oh, can you not hear us right now?
Take that as a yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
Whatever it is you.
Oh my god.
I hate my computer. Whatever it is you
Right,
just
same.
said, Harry, I probably agree with you.
Oh.
What was I going to say?
This is. But
Hog.
I guess before we
Hog.
segue into next topic, I guess I can give my brief anecdote of the PS2.
Yeah, that's basically what I was asking for. So.
Okay, so it's well, I never owned a Dreamcast personally, so of the quote unquote big 3, it's the one I owned the last. And I didn't buy it. My family didn't actually buy it. We just inherited it from a neighbor's son. Or no, my mother's friend's son. We didn't own a PS2 until 2007. I played it at neighbors' houses, and like cousins' houses. So I was familiar with it. It was definitely. I owned a PlayStation 1 as a kid, so I knew what a PlayStation was. But the PS2 it hit different.
yeah, the
down
PS2
to,
just
like,
seems to be hit different.
Mm-hmm.
Just down to the startup menu, like the console
Oh, yeah.
startup menu.
Oh yeah, there's something.
It was cool but professional.
Oh,
And then there was also
Had
there was
material
also the
quality to
start,
it.
and also the startup sounded like a falling piano.
done.
I mean,
Oh, can I just say, in general, like you mentioned that the 6th generation, like hands down, I think has the best startup, like intros for any console generation. Like GameCube,
Yep.
Xbox, and PS2, all of those startups are just peak.
I mean, when the first one to come out was a Dreamcast, which the startup sound and animation on that just like hits you deeply, like soul deep.
Yeah, I
when
mean,
you
I don't
hear
like it.
Damn,
I don't like the Dreamcast startup.
damn. I think we
Get
need.
out.
I think we need to cancel Joey.
Wow.
No,
Get in
like
line.
no, I tell you, like I never owned a Dreamcast, so I didn't have much experience with it. But when I what is it? One of my friends has shown me a bunch of stuff on a Dreamcast, and just seeing that logo play out, like firsthand, something about it just felt magical.
It is magical.
Even if I never experienced a console myself.
It's so magical. Like it's one of those like that's worth just turning the console off and then turning it back on again,
Yeah.
just to hear it again. And I don't think I can rank like the 6th generation startup sounds because
No,
they all
they're all
hit
so
in their
good.
own way. They hit differently in their own way. Like even the weird alien-esque aesthetic of the Xbox, like that's got a,
Yeah, it felt very futuristic and like
It
strange.
used to terrify me as a kid.
Nova.
Yeah.
After the PS2, I went to the Xbox, but I still miss when Sony tried.
No, I
yeah. I missed when Sony tried to.
talking about missing Sony having mesmerizing startups. I miss when all consoles had mesmerizing startups. Forget just Sony.
360 was the last one.
Yeah, pretty
It
much.
wasn't.
Well, yeah.
Well, no, I'm not talking about like just mesmerizing startups, yeah.
Yeah.
Because but startups in general, like the Xbox Series X still has that, so
Not really.
Yeah.
it does. It has a startup.
I mean, yeah, but like
that's the bar now. It
Yeah.
has one.
it's like with like Windows now, where like there's barely any flair to it, whereas like back in the day it had fun startups, it had the fun like sounds and all that, and now it's just kind of nothing. Like that's how it feels. It's like
Well, to say
it's
this-
Windows used to
to
have
s-
pinball.
Yeah, exactly.
did.
Technically it functions better. It gets you straight to the point, and that's fine, I guess. But I missed the fun flair.
Like to say this of the PS4, like the vanilla startup of that thing, when you pick your profile and then it goes to the main menu, the sound of that is actually really nice.
Hmm.
Like in modern day that probably comes pretty close.
Yeah, I give you that.
Oh yeah. PS1.
Never owned a PS4, but
PS1 is also a top tier intro. I agree, Nova.
the PS1 is just the best sound ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
prob-
PS1 sound.
I-
The PS1 sound probably gave me a nightmare once.
Yeah, same.
I will say,
Red screen.
comparing PS1 and PS2 intros, I definitely go with
That's the
PS1.
PS2.
I personally, I would go with the PS1 intro any day of the week. Like just
The PS1 had a red screen as well.
yeah, well,
Did it?
both of them did.
I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
It was basically in the PS1.
It was just a red version of the main menu, but
Yeah, it was
you
like
know.
the disc. Was it the save data screen thing? But all the blocks were red.
Yeah. Yeah.
The PS...
and it just
yeah.
flashed up. It just told you, "Oh no, you made a fucky wucky."
Whereas the PS2, like, you get sent to a evil dimension.
You get sent to hell.
You get sent. You literally get sent to the deepest pits of Hades with that fucking thing.
Yeah, I remember.
On God, the PS2 red screen is actually worse than hell.
Imagine that. Imagine that in G major.
No, I remember being in a call with Joey once, and he just on purpose put the PS2 red screen on just to stare at it, see how long he could last. It's just like, nah, I gotta turn this off. This is too scary.
Did you know you can trigger it by putting an Xbox 360 game in a PS2?
I mean, that would make sense.
Like, yeah, because I remember going to my sister's house. She had a PS2, and then there was an error with the PS2 at one point, and I nearly shat myself. Like, I was not I was like, oh my
You
fucking
were
God,
not
what is
ready
that?
for that.
I wasn't
Because
ready
it's the
for it.
sound as well. But here's the thing: it's not just the
Is it
sound of
Joey?
going into it; it's the background sound. Like it sounds like the screams of demons are echoing out of the top of the towers
I mean, when I
But
looked
that
at...
thing-
as the blocks just fall into the abyss and break into nothingness.
I mean,
It's like looking into the abyss and then the abyss staring back into your soul.
the thing that scares me about stuff like that is the fact that I see I see that screen and I just expect something to just jump out at me.
It's like you're just high enough, but like if you look deep enough, you could be in danger.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is, games consoles should traumatize kids again.
I mean, the amount of installs you have to do with modern consoles will probably be a form of trauma for some kids.
Yeah, we're pretty
Yeah.
traumatized already.
That's with
just-
modern consoles, like it has to save all the data onto the console itself, whereas back then it was like you just put you put the game into the console and like it just needs to the console just needs to read the game like as you're playing it, and then you just have to get the save data, and then that's it.
Whereas back
Just
in the
fucking
day,
brain rot.
whereas back in the day, I hate that word. Whereas back in the day, you put you put a cartridge in like slightly wrong, and then it ends up
And you
looking like
hope.
and then it looks like a Vine source corruption video.
Yeah,
and it's
Mario
so-
kind of like tilts over and stuff.
Yeah,
We
And
need
th-
to
and then-
remind kids that things working isn't always a guarantee, and there are consequences for making mistakes.
the funny thing as well is the fact that Sega were like, "What shall we do with our game? When it crashes, load the level select."
And there's
Sonic 1.
3D Blast.
Oh yeah, yeah. Or you was it hit the console and it loads it up?
No, it's literally just as if you like move. Okay, classically, if you move a cartridge while it's playing, the cartridge fucks up and the game crashes, right?
Hmm.
Not 3D Blast. It just loads into the level select screen instead.
That is hilarious.
Whether they did that to stop the game from crashing, or they just did it as a fun Easter egg, I don't know.
Maybe a mix of column A and column B.
Most
Why
likely.
would you even code that?
Yeah, that is a very good question.
It's probably like a failsafe thing. Oh,
Yeah.
for fuck's sake.
But that means that the level select is always loaded into the RAM
So
at
when
all
I had
times.
this, excuse me.
Anyway, going on. Yeah. So what happened? What happened was, I think it's like, you know how certain like there are certain protocols a game follows in the event of a crash, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think what they did was jerry-rig it so that on the event of a crash, it runs the code to go straight into the level select screen. Like, I don't know how they managed it, but they fucking did it. Probably John. Okay, that's a good point. John Burton, uh, who was on the like development team for 3D Blast, probably said something about that when he was making 3D Blast Director's Cut.
Yeah, I mean, I think the same guy's made a lot of interesting videos about the games he's worked on, so...
Remember, British game developers like did a lot of wacky shit during the time as
Yeah.
game developers. Like Rare themselves, like you'd hear stories about that. A lot of their things. It's got to like where to the point where they named a villain after one of the guys swearing in the background,
Yeah.
and then that villain's like boss theme song ended up in Smash.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that, was it one of the Gingers got their name because one of the because they were making fun of one of their co-workers being ginger.
That's
UK
funny as hell.
UK game developers used to have aura.
Yeah.
They did. They still do. Like you watch
Eh.
you watch you watch the Platonic guys, and because they're ex Rare staffers, they still have that aura.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Like
because
you
they
can
are
tell.
rare back when rare was rare.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Like,
Like when I watch interviews for Platonic, you just think, yeah, these guys know.
Dude,
These
it's
guys
so
are.
fun. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Rare just hilarious. Like, probably it was what is it? It was like an E3 or something where Grant Kirkhope was just in the bathroom um with someone and just trying to pull what the pants down of like this other guy that this other guy from Rare. I don't remember who it was, and apparently Miyamoto was right there.
Oh wow!
And Grant just awkwardly stopped. He's like, "Oh, yeah,
And that's when Nintendo realized they had to sell Rare.
yeah." Apparently, Miyamoto just kind of walked off and didn't say anything.
yeah, he would.
He told Yamauchi.
They probably just thought I'm getting paid too much for this shit.
Like this was like again, this was during the time when they were trying to advertise Banjo-Kazooie. So it's just like, yeah, that
Oh, this was N64 days.
yeah, this N64
Oh,
days. So that
this
was
is the
just
main
like,
composer of this new video game. What's he trying to do? Pants someone.
yeah,
It's just really funny because what was it like the Econ Bokum? I forgot who it was.
It's a VTuber.
oh, the
No, it was
Corone.
no. It's some. I think it's something in Banjo Kazooie.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
originally,
yeah. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was exact. This was during like the first guest groups episode, pretty much the only one that John did, but it had Grant Kirkhope in it, and he stressed that that he can I think it was Mumbo.
Yeah, Mambo. That's
That
Mambo.
Mumbo's speech
Wombo.
pattern was Mumbo's speech pattern was actually come and have a go if you think you're hard enough, but with the syllables mixed up so you couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I mean,
When I
they
saw
also
when I-
used that in Mayhem Temple in 2E. Like, it just straight up just come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
Grant Kirkhope was just different. Anyway, it's sort of related to our topic today because Xbox had Rare games on it.
Yeah.
And GameCube, actually. No, didn't. Okay, more to the point, just side shifting onto GameCube for a second. Didn't, weren't some of the Star Fox games made by Rare?
I think it was just Adventures. I think that was the last Rare game
One.
that was made by...
Star Fox 1 and 2 were made by Rare.
No, they
They
weren't.
weren't.
That
I
was
swear to God they were.
Argonaut Games, I think.
Adventures was made. Okay, hold on. Star Fox 1 and the previously unreleased Star Fox 2 were developed by Argonaut. I think Nintendo EAD assisted with that as well. Star Fox
Right.
64 was done by EAD. Adventures was Rare. Assault was was just Namco back then. DS was by a studio that was founded by one of the people who worked on Star Fox 1. Not DS, Command. And that studio also did Star Fox 64 3D. Zero was done by EPD and Platinum.
Kind of interesting how that
So-
series just went all
I
over the
was
place.
wrong.
Rare did one Star Fox game and technically only one GameCube game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did Adventure in 2002. I was wrong.
Yeah, was Adventures the last Rare game? The last game Rare made for Nintendo. Well, Nintendo console. I know there's GBA stuff afterwards, but
The last home console game that the last Rare game made for a Nintendo home console.
okay.
I think it came out. It came out, I think, just shortly before the buyout from Microsoft was solidified. But
Bad Fur Day was 2001.
I mean, Bad Fur Day was
Yes,
like
2000.
really late in N64's life.
Oh, yeah. Star Fox Adventure is 2002, so yeah, it was like the last one.
Rare actually
As
had a
far
pretty-
as I can see here.
Rare actually had a pretty interesting run on the GBA. Like that.
Yeah,
If
I
we
mean,
get
we'll
to
get.
the Game Boy Advance. We can maybe talk about.
I guess we'll get
Grunty's
to that
Revenge.
in a bit. Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But is there anything else we wanted to say about PS2?
I've not got much to say for the PS2 besides my earlier rant about racing games because
Fair.
I'm still playing catch up on the PS2. Really, like I've got
Fair.
a PS2. It works. It's fine. It's just I need to play more of it.
Yeah, I guess we should backtrack and talk about the Dreamcast before we move on to the other ones because.
Last thing about Rare.
Wait.
Oh yeah, sure. What?
Donkey Kong Country 3 for the Game Boy Advance, 2005.
Okay.
Does that count? Because it's a remake.
Yeah, they had that.
I mean, I was gonna
Fair.
mention it like
For having
there's-
one for being ported there to begin with.
I was gonna say because I was gonna mention the stuff on GBA later because yeah, the fact that what is it? I think that the idea was that Microsoft don't really have much of a hold in the handheld market, so they were completely fine with Rare making stuff for the GBA. So that's why we had stuff like DKC 1, 2, and 3 on there, and Diddy Kong Racing DS.
So it counts.
There was a DS version of Diddy Kong Racing. I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, you know. TIL.
Yes, 2007.
Damn.
I only have story switching.
Viva Pinata was also on the DS in 2008.
So we're done for the PS2 for now, right?
Unless
I
there's
had a few more
Disappear for
comments.
2 years. They get shoved in the Connect mines. They make Killer Instinct.
Oh, did you have things to say still, Scrappy?
I just...
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Since I did not own a PS2 for most of the English. Since I did not own a PS2 for most of the 2000s, yeah, there was definitely some console owner envy. Well, gosh, exclusives. Oh, look, a new game with Mickey Mouse and Donald and Goofy and an RPG from the guys who made Final Fantasy. Oh, no, you can't have it because you own an Xbox. Eat a dick.
Huh.
Oh
yeah.
Mood.
It's-
Mood.
Yeah, that's the like
I
yeah.
I miss console exclusive from third parties, but also I do not miss that crap.
Double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Like you miss one Xbox, you miss one console, you're probably missing out on something big.
True. At the same
I mean, I
time,
do miss
like
when libraries were less homogenous.
yeah, I know. It's a double-edged sword, I guess, because it's like, nowadays it feels less special to have like all the consoles because there's a lot less exclusives than there used to be. But this, because like, there was something special back in the day where each console had such a vast, different library. So you could, there was something special about going over to a friend's house back then, and if they own like a different console to you, you'd probably see like like a completely different game library to what you had. So it's just like, oh, let's see what stuff you have. Whereas now, like there's exclusives, but there's not as many as there used to be, so it doesn't feel as special, I guess. I don't know.
I mean,
Also,
that's why I
the
like
PS2 not
CEX
having
so much.
the
Yeah.
PS2
Yeah.
not having 4 controller.
Yeah.
Eh?
Oh.
Clearly, the
I
PS2
didn't.
not having 4 controller. The
Ports,
PS2
yeah.
not having 4 controller ports by default is nonsensical.
That I don't like. That's probably the biggest blunder of the PS2 that I don't like. Like having to needing to play like more than two people, not more than two players. You had to get like a secondary accessory and all that, which I never bought. And yeah.
However, it did lead to a lot of game companies just not developing four-player games for the console,
Yeah.
unless it was also available on the other consoles, which easily supported for.
Yeah.
And you know what
So
else
to be
supported
fair,
4
even on
consoles
the
in
Xbox,
1998?
it didn't really support player games, even on local. Like the list is short.
Mm.
I think Halo did.
Halo's campaigns were
you know-
two-player until Halo, but the multiplayers
Yeah,
were
the campaigns, but the
four-player split
multiplayer
screen.
was
Yeah, but then you've also
Yeah,
got to
that's-
have
that's
like
what- that's what I was
three
thinking.
other. Then you have to know three other people, let alone shove them into your house and then make them play video games.
Yeah, knowing people is hard.
I mean,
It is.
that used to be the rule back then.
Yeah.
Um,
There was no like online
You know
gaming
what
wasn't
system-
exactly the norm at the time.
Oh yeah, no, like
it was getting
I
there.
hear
like,
stories about people using the sixth gem for online gaming, and then also was like, oh yeah, you can play games like 13 online with like, 8
Yeah.
other people, and it's like, how?
Yeah, I mean there were like
I didn't own the hardware. I didn't have the internet until 2008.
Yeah.
I didn't know the hardware even existed. I was cursorily aware of multi-taps,
Yeah. I think
and I didn't have enough friends to use one.
yeah, like I
I
think
didn't have friends.
Like was it there were like some handful of games on 6th Gen that could be played online, but they were very few and far between, and like something like I think there was like Phantasy Star Online for the GameCube. You had to get like different accessories and stuff to make it go online and all that. So it's like it was a different time.
The GameCube basically just needed a specific GameCube Ethernet to home broadband adapter.
Something like that, yeah.
The PS2 could. I don't know about the PS2 Slim. I think PS2 Slim had it built in, so you just needed a Cat5 cable. Cat 6 didn't exist. But with the PS2 Fat model, you needed a full-on modem.
Mm-hmm.
To be like, you had to pull a chunk of the PS2 out of its own arse and then plug in this really weird unit. And if you did that, you couldn't have a hard drive. So if you were using your PS2 as a home Linux computer, because that was an option,
Mm.
then you couldn't connect it to the internet. As far as I'm aware, don't quote me, I'm probably wrong. But it was the same slot for it.
Mm-hmm. I'll say as well, like, speaking of DLC or not DLC, but like online stuff, I think Sega was like the the first one to really dabble in that kind of stuff, right? With the Dreamcast and all that.
Oh yeah.
Like-
Oh no, it wasn't the Dreamcast.
If you're gonna say PC, I'm not gonna fucking talk to you.
It was the Master System.
Wait, really?
Hang on.
Yeah, the Master
What?
System in Japan had a special internet connection cartridge.
Huh.
Are you sure that's not the Sega channel for the Mega Drive?
It might have been a Mega Drive.
Well, either.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Well,
Either way, that's like really fucking early.
Yeah, either way, my point with that is just like Nintendo. Sega were like really ahead of the game with online stuff, like having that stuff, and
Like that
Yeah.
that was Time Traveler struggling to implement level fucking ahead of the game.
yeah, and
Like-
then correct me if I'm wrong, but was the Dreamcast the first console to have DLC?
Probably. I
Probably.
think
Because
so.
that's also like
No, it wasn't.
What was it?
Maybe. It might have happened at the same time, but it could have actually been the PS2 off the top of my head.
No, because the PS2 didn't get started until 2 years.
Yeah, I was
into
gonna
the
say, 'cause
Dreamcast life cycle.
Dreamcast-
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the games that were on the Dreamcast at the time had it.
well,
It did.
No,
Sonic
Unless
Adventure.
someone can
yeah,
get
no,
me
I was
the
gonna say
information.
Sonic Adventure.
Sonic Adventure. I don't know about SA2, but I know SA1 definitely had DLC.
It definitely, and it had the downloadable events, challenges and stuff like that, and it
Yeah.
also had a like a Millennium Turn of the Millennium like celebration event in game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know the PS2 used expansion discs for some games.
Mm-hmm.
I know the original Xbox outright just had DLC for Halo 2. But you could also get it through expansion discs and multiplayer expansions. The PS2 also had Final Fantasy 11.
Is that an MMO?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's also fucking awful.
Oh. Oh.
I have started a war. Anyway,
Huh?
I'm not gonna
haven't
lie.
if I hadn't been cancelled for my opinions on other things I've said today, I just got put in the goddamn grave alive.
Well, it's a good thing I have
Um,
no opinion on that. So
Neither do I. Like
don't
I'm
have.
I started a fight with the Final Fantasy.
not gonna lie to you. Like a lot of the people who play Final Fantasy 14 nowadays probably don't even know that my Final Fantasy 11 exists.
I mean, consider what's the Final Fantasy games that are considered good or bad depends. Like it's like changes depending on who you talk to and how people feel that day. So it's just like, whatever.
I'm just astounded at the bravery of Square Enix to actually make the first Final Fantasy MMO into a numbered title
Yeah.
rather than make it some spin-off and just
Both
make
of
Final
them.
Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, it's paid off for 14 at least.
it has.
It paid off for 11. It was massive at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I.
However,
don't get that.
I didn't play 11 until a couple of years back.
Hmm.
The game,
It's still getting played now.
yeah, it's still getting played. It has a solid on it. 1 second.
Hmm.
Mm. It's gonna pull up the current player numbers now. I can
Got it.
see it.
Oh, I didn't realize there was a.
No,
bot.
it's a bot.
I thought you were gonna say 1 second. There's an angry mob outside my house.
No, it's the Final Fantasy 11 community have started raiding the channel. No, even they wouldn't do that.
Hope
Mm.
not.
Fuck off Xbox. I don't want to play Oblivion. We'll get
Not
to
yet.
that. On the 7th, whatever.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Yes, Final Fantasy 11. Right. I have gone back and played it. It controls awfully. It's very poor at explaining what it is or what you have to do. It suffers from a lot of expectations based on the communities that played those games at the state the games were in at the time. And it has not gotten any better, and it's kept alive through fan servers. Which, fine, whatever. But if you are not a Final Fantasy XI player now, you never will be, or you are going to put way too much time and investment into making yourself one.
Oh, so it's one of those things where like it's pretty much the people
It's
who play
old,
it now.
archaic jank.
Oh, okay, right, fair.
And the people that are into it, good. I very much appreciate that there is a MMO fan base that is so diehard that they are just keeping it alive for their own personal gain.
Right.
They are not getting new players.
No,
Yeah.
They know they're not getting new players. If they do get new players, it's a very rare occurrence.
I
And
feel
I
like
hope that they welcome them and assist them as much as possible. Because
Right.
otherwise, that gate is closed.
I feel like anybody that's going to check out Final Fantasy 11 is going to be purely out of curiosity.
Right.
Oh yeah, it is entirely a curiosity thing, and it was another case of my brother going, "Hey Joe, download this MMO. We'll play it. Honestly, trust me, bro." And me going, "Bro, I can't even accept quests, let alone understand how to fulfill them if I do. Once I did finally accept a quest." The combat's actually not bad though.
Mm.
If
Anyway.
you can figure out how to even do it in the first place.
Huh?
Any more PlayStation 2 anecdotes and stories before we move on?
Trust me, I have loads. I've been wanting all stream to basically say that I didn't even play Metal Gear 3
Oh, no, neither
until
did I.
like 2018, 19. And people started giving me concerned phone calls
Huh.
because I just sort of fell off of the internet and didn't turn on my computer for 3 days playing that game. Metal Gear 3 is a life-changing game.
The guy's going to go into Delta, not interact with the world for 3 more fucking days.
Bitch, I might! I actually might do that. I'm not going to stream it or anything. I'm just going to get in the game, play through it at my pace, and enjoy it.
You know how
It'll-
games are supposed to be fucking enjoyed.
Yeah, no. It really sometimes being a streamer does fucking suck.
Mm.
There's a reason I've taken a week off. I've needed to reevaluate some things.
Yeah, fair.
That's fair. That's very fair. Anyway, so we don't like push the runtime too long. I do want to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll move on now. But
yeah.
I
Yeah.
could keep fucking talking. Metal Arms glitch in the system. What? 2003.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting
The-
for that. I was
The
waiting.
PS2 ports of the Sims games.
Yeah.
Mm. Anyway,
That's a good topic. That.
Yeah.
sidestepping Dreamcast time.
Yeah.
All I have to say on that is, hey, come on over, have some fun with Crazy Taxi.
To be fair, Crazy Taxi's fucking good.
It's so good. Like, it's one of those games where it looks janky at first, but then you get into it, you play it, you get a handle for the systems, and then it's just you come out feeling like it's been a religious experience or you've had sex. One of the two. Like,
Yeah,
it is
I don't know.
one of those games. It's a
I'd say-
similar kind of experience to like going into Burnout Revenge and just going through the crash mode where you're just going through the traffic and it doesn't slow you down. Like you in Burnout Revenge's, I think it's like that, or like the traffic mode where you just go through the traffic and all the other cars rip apart like paper, and it's so like exhilarating, and it shouldn't. It's one of those things that makes you feel like a sadist, but like you're playing a fucking video game, you're having a good time, you don't give a shit. It's
Yeah.
one of those kinds of experiences, and that's real, and that's why I just advocate for people playing games to fucking enjoy them and just making a game fun first. That's it.
Yeah.
Helldivers.
Thank you
Repo.
for coming. Yeah, thank you for coming to my TED talk.
Yeah.
But then again, like old school Sega games are just that in general.
Yeah. Sega generally just have a really good, like, they're a lot of their games are very arcadey.
It's where they came from.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like Sega in general, like okay, Nintendo came from the arcade as well, but Sega have held on more to their arcade roots than Nintendo have.
Oh yeah. The game design philosophy is just inherently like more in those like game design sensibilities than Nintendo.
It's like it's one of the reasons I'll always like stand by Sega, because they know the roots, and like yeah, there might be diamonds in the rough, but goddamn, they are going to they are going to make an enjoyable experience, no matter what the fucking Metacritic scores say, and no matter what the negativity farming YouTubers say.
Because God knows there's a lot of that.
Fuck
On
those
S-
people.
on Sega, they had a rough, deep competition
Transition
in
to
their
3D.
I thought I was thinking that as well.
Can I? Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, go.
I'm talking about Sega themselves, not that.
Yeah, I
But
know.
that is
I know.
that becomes relevant. But yeah, Sega starting off with their big, long, brutal competition with Nintendo. Eventually, I can't remember if they flat out went bankrupt or went near bankrupt and just pulled the plug on consoles.
I think it was near bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I think because I know
And
that
then-
the CEO at the time it is either the CEO or one of the bosses put all of his savings into saving the Dreamcast. It still didn't work, and the old bugger died.
Oh, oof.
Yeah, like that
Yikes.
has to sting.
I think the company felt that for years as well because they never quite recovered.
Yeah.
Especially keep in
recovering
mind
now.
they had a lot of 90 grade new blood CEOs taking over and swapping in and out through that particular time
I
period
was
after
gonna-
they lost him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, nowadays feels like like a new golden age for Sega, but like they had a long,
As a Sega child, that just makes me feel so fucking good.
yeah. But like back then,
Sega's golden age started a little bit before you actually think, but go on.
No, well, I just mean like nowadays, like Sega generally are just in a good place now, but back then they were struggling.
Being a Sega fan in those
yeah.
times was probably really bad.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they are getting really good now. Like the Switch 2 upgrade thing sucks, but
Oh,
on the
yeah.
fucking overall thing, it's really small.
Yeah, like Sega have done a lot of good things in the past like few
Like,
years.
that Switch 2 upgrade thing is not going to be a stain on their fucking
Yeah,
goodwill.
it's just
On
like
volume.
it's an annoying thing, but like they've done a lot of good like
It is annoying, but
past
yeah.
few years. Like they're hiring more staff for their teams. They're raising the pay for their employees. They're like what is it? Instead of laying people off like a lot of companies are doing, they're hiring more employees for their teams. So it's just like they're doing a lot right now. It's not that they're making some blemishes like the Switch 2 stuff, but
What company's perfect? What company is perfect?
Yeah.
Come on. Tell me a company that is fucking perfect and I will eat my hat. There is no company.
there was
fucking
no
perfect.
company that's perfect. But yeah,
Not every mistake that a company does is tantamount to getting fucking cancelled. Christ almighty.
Sixth gen was incredibly rough for the company. Seventh gen
yeah.
almost made them die twice.
So I don't think Sonic 06 made anything better, let's be fair.
It didn't. I mean, Sonic Team being separate from Sega, but being a Sega-owned IP, definitely helped Sega's independent reputation.
Yeah. I mean, there's
No, it didn't
It's
in
also
that
the-
time, believe me.
No, hear me out. So, the fact that Sega and Sonic Team were separate entities, Sega owning Sonic Team,
yeah.
people were able to identify that Sonic Team are their own thing, less, and put almost all of the blame on us justified, which allowed Sega to come out of that better than if people didn't make that distinction.
Mhm.
And then after that, if you look in the timelines, you can basically what Sonic Team done, what Sega done. Sega has just continued and basically said, "Look, Sonic Team, wake the fuck up and do your job." And then, freaking 15 years later, they do. But we're
Well-
not talking about them.
Well, I mean, there's also the fact that like Sega, other higher ups, they're the ones that call the budget for things and when things should release. So they have like just as much to blame on what the stuff that happened.
On the crunch, yeah, but on the actual game itself and a lot of the other problems that go beyond the short development time, because there are development problems with that game beyond the amount of time that they were given that I don't think were fixed even if they had an extra 2 years.
Well, we're talking about 06 specifically. I think the problem.
Yes, we're talking about 06.
I mean, the problem is like a lot of things just went wrong. Like team members split up. Like Yuji Naka left. The game.
Yuji Naka. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, the game itself was just way too ambitious for them to handle, and it like was it they straight up had to backtrack to an earlier build of the game because it was just more stable, but it was way less advanced. So there's just so many things that just got screwed up.
We can talk deeply about that for our 7th gen Christmas special.
In hindsight, I'm not gonna lie, Yuji Naka leaving was a fucking blessing.
Yeah,
Yuji Naka leaving was a
honestly.
massive blessing in hindsight.
Like
I've
apparently,
looked into it in the past. I'm gonna say no comment, but I agree.
yeah, like apparently the reason why Knuckles Chaotix's physics are a little bit weird is because Yuji Naka just refused to let them use his physics for the like Mega Drive games or something.
Back to the point I was making.
Go on.
After the beginning of the 7th generation Sega barely getting out of that one alive after 06,
Yeah.
they looked like they went quiet, but what they really did was they just blew up on the PC market.
Mm.
They got a bunch of small groups and just started doing. They basically made Dreamcast plus quality IP, put them on the goddamn PC, and now we've got Neptunia, Valkyria,
Yeah,
frickin'
a lot of stuff.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think the thing.
And then near the very end of 7th gen, beginning of 8th gen, they started bringing that onto consoles. Not enough, by the way. There's a lot of shit I can't play, and it's annoying. Honestly, Sega is an absolute powerhouse. Also, being able to reinvest that money back into Sonic Team, restructuring Sonic Team, especially in very recent years with technically 9th gen consoles.
Yeah, the thing is,
Technically,
because the thing is, well,
yeah.
what makes 06's fumble so dreadful is the fact that Sonic in like overall is still like Sega's cash cow. Like that's where they get most of their money from, even now. So to have that kind of be a sinking ship is kind of a massive deal for them. So
I don't know, aren't there like 30 Neptunia games?
I mean, probably, but like
Plus merch.
yeah, I mean, they get a lot of money from other
I can actually
places,
look
but
this up. I
um,
have Steam.
is you just comparing sales figures for Sonic like stuff in general, like it's not like it's not even a contest like how much that series generates for them like money wise compared to like their other stuff, but it's like I don't know. Either way, it's just good
but-
to see Sega in a good spot right now.
Yeah, but like the Dreamcast, like it wasn't. What really did not help the Dreamcast at all was the fact that it was coming back off the failure of the Saturn.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that Sega were so. I think it's a mix of a bunch of things, I guess, but Sega being obsessed with making the Mega Drive Genesis like go on for as long as it can with all these add-ons.
I was just about to say,
and like
that.
Including spin-offs. There's like 17 Neptunia games.
Like
that makes sense.
okay,
Yeah. But yeah, it's a
because they tried to make a lot of peripherals for the Mega Drive to make sure it went on as long as it possibly could. That was overlapping into the life cycle of the Saturn. Sega of Japan didn't wait. Was it Sega of Japan or Sega America that wanted to just focus on the Saturn? No, wait. It was Sega of Japan that wanted all these peripherals to keep being made. Sega America wanted to start like pulling the resources into the Saturn. Sega of Japan said no. The 32X and the Sega CD need to exist.
Sega of Japan are idiots. Like that was a massive mistake. Like because the thing is, consumers' loyalty in Sega were like dying. Like they were on thin ice because it's just like
it was being tested.
Because it's like okay, we gotta buy this new expensive add-on now to get this, and now the Saturn's here. Okay, I guess we'll get that. And then like what, a couple years later or something. Oh, now we have the Dreamcast. Just like they didn't spend too much time on one thing long enough, and people had to keep buying these expensive things, and they just got fed up.
Yeah, the funniest
I
thing
mean, the
about
Neptune got outright cancelled.
Yeah.
the funniest thing about that as well is that Sega announced the price of the Saturn at E3, and then like Sony at that point, because they were just starting with their with the American release of the PS1, found like announced the PS1's price to be much cheaper, and then years later, Sony came off the back of PS2 arrogance and tried to make the PS3 really expensive. That same E3, the Xbox 360 was round the corner. Microsoft did the exact same thing to Sony that Sony did to Sega years before. And guess who was at the helm of the Xbox 360? Like during the launch,
Sega.
Peter
Phil
Moore.
Spencer?
Oh, Peter.
Oh,
Moore,
Peter
yeah,
Moore.
yeah.
Peter Moore, who, funnily enough, was the boss of Sega. I think boss of Sega during his Dreamcast. So, fucking karma.
I think it's fair to say that during this chunk of time that we're talking about, Japanese gaming CEOs were just really fucking bad at their jobs.
They got like.
They got better, thankfully.
Like
Sega
well,
Beating
some
them
of
in the
them,
back
some
of the
of them.
skull with a hammer repeatedly for 20 years helped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But like,
Sega in
Can confirm, worked for me.
Sega in particular, obviously seems to be doing a lot better. Like, there isn't a lot of disparity between the Sega of Japan and Sega of America anymore. Thank fuck, because they are those two branches of the same company can actually work and do some fucking game making and promoting and releasing, watching people play the fucking games and see what works. That seems to be doing wonders for the for the Sonic franchise.
yeah.
Because we've had Sonic X Shadow Generations, but
I was gonna say
that's
as well, like with that something like Teams was it Sonic Racing Cross Worlds or whatever. They don't have like a release date for that, and they they did like a beta test and all this stuff, and they're giving the team time to actually work the kinks out and like.
Let him cook.
Yeah, let them cook basically. Whereas like back in the day, it would just be like, screw it, who cares? Just release it. Like it doesn't matter if we're not finished.
I think it helps the fact that the Mario Kart World's also coming out, and they don't want to see Cross Worlds die in the same way as Superstars did.
Yeah, the fact that they don't have a release date is the smartest thing they've done, because they don't have to commit to anything right now. They can just keep making it until they're confident they can release it at a specific time. Like,
Let's keep in mind as well that they're not Yuji Naka, fuck him. Takeshi Iizuka actually had to fight to get Sonic Frontiers to release a year later than it was supposed to. And look at the result. The game's still a bit rough around the edges, but guess what? Enjoyable. People loved it. And
if that game came out a year sooner, I can guarantee it would just be a montage of why do we still buy Sonic games? Everyone complaining on the internet,
Probably.
and 3-second clips of people walking walls.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also the fact that Frontiers is interesting because I don't know what. Just a quick aside, I guess. Frontiers. Apparently, they did a lot of vigorous testing and like figuring out how to make an open world Sonic game work. So there was a lot of dev time just kind of messing around and seeing what stuck.
Matt?
I think I'm going to retire for them.
Okay.
Now.
Okay.
Okay.
A game developer, a game tester walks into a bar.
That guy's scrappy then.
The game
Thank you.
tester then proceeds to order 1 beer, 2 beer, 3 beer, 5 beer, 69 beer, 420 beer, negative 600 beers, and then walks out. A player then walks into the bar. He asks where the bathroom is. The game crashes.
Ha! Honestly, there's so much to say. There's more to say about this topic than I initially thought. We could easily make a part 2 to this.
We could actually stop talking about Sega right now and probably do a Sega episode.
We
Probably.
could. Because, like I said, time's marching on, and I have to be up in the
If,
Yeah, I
morning.
was gonna
if
say-
we promise it doesn't turn into a Sonic episode, because there's way more to talk about.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's still there's still so much to talk about. Like we haven't really touched on GameCube or Xbox, and that could be like easily another hour. Like
I don't want to do that.
like
I'm not gonna
I
lie.
feel like I feel like at this I don't know. I feel like at this point we might as well wrap up the conversation on Dreamcast stuff and do a part 2 because it's either that or we just skim through the rest of it, and I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Okay, can I just say real quick, Joe?
Yeah?
You know how you said that you wouldn't have much to say on this topic?
What topic?
6th gen consoles?
I didn't say I wouldn't have much to say on 6th Gen. Harry said that.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I thought. I didn't. Yeah, that I didn't think.
You didn't realize how much happened and the fact that it's a massive part of your life.
No, I didn't. I didn't know where the conversation was gonna go. I was just gonna kind of wing it, but yeah,
This wasn't going to be a 5-minute yap about hardware specs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would have nothing to say about that. It's like, yeah, they're definitely consoles that play games.
The thing is, I talked about hardware when we were talking about the MMOs and PlayStation connectivity.
Yeah. So,
You know more. Thing
yeah.
is, you know more about the PlayStation 2 in terms of hardware, probably more than you do
I
about
still
the
don't know
Dreamcast.
shit about it.
All I know is that
I know feature level.
all I know
don't
is
know
that
tech level.
Xbox was the strongest of the three main consoles, right?
Yep.
That's yeah.
Otherwise, yes.
That's pretty much.
And it still came second place, and that was a scratching the surface thing.
Yeah, I mean, sales wise, PS2 had no competition. But
Oh, yeah.
That was
Nothing
the
has
arrogance
ever
that led
matched.
to the PS3.
Nothing ever matched it.
That, like I
Well-
said, that was the arrogance that led into the PS3 and the problems with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
seventh
there's
gen.
there have been consoles that have like reached close to PS2 levels. I don't know if there's any that have like surpassed it, but
No, the Switch tried, but it put up a fight.
I mean, it's still it can still it could still technically surpass it. There's like there's nothing saying saying that like the next few years can't like it can't push its weight a little bit more.
If they waited another 3 to 5 years to announce the Switch 2, people would still keep buying Switch 1s.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was gonna say,
Not
I
joking.
mean, I was gonna say, like, people still buying Switch ones now. Like, I don't think the Switch 2 existing is gonna halt Switch 1 sales completely. I think there'll probably be like a couple of years where people are still buying Switch ones before it starts dying out.
Really important question.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Switch 1 was out for long enough to justify a large install base in Brazil?
What?
This is very important
Is this because
because
of
this
this-
is one of the This is also because of the PS2.
Yeah.
The reason the PS2 wasn't discontinued. Sorry, the PS2 was officially discontinued in 2013. They were still selling units in Brazil into 2018 and later. They were still making games until I can't remember if it was 2018 was the last game or if it was 20.
The whole like Brazil meme, the whole "you're going to Brazil" meme is like it's funny. Don't get me wrong, but goddamn, I actually really fucking respect their gaming community because they somehow managed to find a way to keep consoles like going on past years after their official life cycles ended. Look at the Master System; that's apparently still getting some unofficial support.
Yeah.
Like a lot
They're
of
still
people.
building new Master Systems for Brazil.
That's insane.
That's fucking nuts, and that console's supposed to have died out yesterday times 30.
Yeah.
Like, good God.
I would say, yeah.
It was just impossible to keep doing that for the PS2, but they kept making games for it.
Yeah, I'll say.
I think
that
the Switch might end up as Brazil's next main console.
Probably,
like the next system for them.
yeah. I would say about the Switch 2 thing for Sega Nova. It's just annoying for me because, or just in general, because just having to buy another version of the game and not just having a simple upgrade pack is just irritating. Because there was a Period Period Tetris 2 S or whatever. It's pretty much just the same game again, but like with some added things. And if I
The
would,
Wii U to Switch was rough.
yeah, just the fact that if I wanted to have those features, I'd have to buy a full priced game again. It's just kind of annoying, but yeah.
Like I said, it's hardly a blemish on the goodwill that Sega have built up over the past years. It's kind of small when you think about
It's
it.
not a huge deal in the grand scheme, but it's just kind of a.
It's annoying, I
It's
know.
like annoying, like pimple or something.
It is a pimple.
I have gone on record and will continue to say I will not be getting a Switch 2 unless someone buys it for me or something really important happens.
Yeah.
Like a really good game that you want comes out. And
I
it's
mean,
exclusive.
I mean a game that could be outright described as a system seller.
Mm.
So as soon as the system seller comes out, that's when you'll think about it.
If a game comes out that meets my tastes and requirements for it to be a system seller.
I don't know how big your standards are for video games, to be honest with you. Like a lot of people, there are people I know that just have astronomical like standards for what meets their criteria as a good video game,
Mm.
and it's just sad to see because they're missing out on so many good video games.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
It
Like
would
if it's
have
not a blockbuster masterpiece of PlayStation walking simulator standards, then they don't want to know.
It would have to be a new IP that basically changes the world of gaming in the sense of it would have to have a long form open campaign that makes me think, oh damn, I need this. It would also have to have a decent multiplayer.
Mm.
Speaking of standards,
Yeah. I don't know.
it doesn't have to be. I've always said this: a game doesn't have to be life changing for me.
Yeah.
I just want to see. I just play what's fun.
Yeah.
I just generally
I
just like play what's fun and worry about the about life changing later.
Yeah, I
If
don't
it
really
changes my
think
life,
about it
cool.
that hard.
Like if it changes my life, cool. Like whatever, that's fine, and I enjoy it. But
This theoretical game for me would have to be how I felt about my first playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 3. Keep in mind, I played that second hand in 2018.
Right. I do actually remember that time when you were just offline.
I just disappeared and people called me because they thought I was sick.
it's
I got called from like 3 different Discords.
like there was different like kinds of there was a game that I had that experience with where I was just could like I started playing a game and I just couldn't put it down, and that was like
Mhm.
this is an Inti Creates game, by the way, like pixel kind of game, but goddamn, it was one of my favorite fucking games of the like the past like 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
And
I think I
you
think what I'm
probably-
saying is like the only thing that would get me to buy the Switch 2 is if they released Metal Gear 6 as a freaking exclusive.
Good luck with that.
That'll never happen.
Good luck with
Never
that.
It's not happening.
But, yeah, I guess for me it's just
It would have to be to the quality and to the freaking polish.
I don't
But
know.
those,
I
for
like
those
I like
for the-
just
for the-
trying out all different kinds of games and just it's like what is it yeah, like Laura was saying, I think it doesn't really need to change my life or anything. Like if I just vibe with the game, then that's good enough for me, really.
like one of the games I just want to sit down and play at my pace is a game called Yellow Taxi Goes Room. That's how much I don't give a shit about whether a game fucking changes my life.
Yeah.
Like
The thing is, I wouldn't buy a console for Crazy Taxi.
No, that's fair. I
But
mean, you
The Switch 2 would have this advantage on getting me to buy. If it can make a game that's so good, I have to buy the console right now. whatever that may look like when it comes out, if it comes out. I would also then immediately be picking up Mario Kart World. I would also be picking up what is probably going to be Smash 6.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple other games, probably
Entire-
Mario Party, assuming that they stay up to date with keeping online, and then, like plenty to do with you guys.
And
That's why I bought a Switch and a Wii U.
That,
Play
to be
with
honest,
you guys.
that kind of stuff will get me to get a Switch anyway. So
Yeah, and the fact that like the just the raw specs of the system is like a lot higher than the Switch one, just it makes it so more kinds of games can be put on the thing, and there's less restrictions compared to the original Switch. So, you know,
If I remember correctly, the 2 reasons I got the Switch one was Breath of the Wild and playing Smash and Mario Kart with you guys.
pretty much. I mean, I've looked at your Switch play thing, was it games list or whatever? You haven't
It's
really.
sparse.
You haven't really played much on the system. I'm
He
gonna be real.
he brought it up to Sheffield last month, mate. Yeah, I saw his games library. It's fucking sparse as hell.
Damn.
There's like nothing on it.
that explains a lot.
You look
The Switch doesn't have anything I want to play, and you guys don't outright go out of your way to ask me, "Hey Joe, play freaking Mario Kart or Smash with us."
Yeah,
No,
Not
that's
since
fine. No,
not
I mean-
since the console came out.
I haven't played Mario Kart or Smash in like a long time, so
You should probably play Mario Kart sometime soon. It's really good, and the DLC is actually pretty good.
no, I played a good chunk of the DLC, but like, I've had like, in terms of just general game time spent with a console, the Switch is probably number 1 on that list. Like, the amount of game time I've spent on the thing is insane. Like,
I actually probably played. I probably played it the most when I was at that place doing that job.
doing the thing with the
Because
stuff.
Yeah, things that I won't say online for.
Yeah.
There's no embargo, and there's no chance any of this, but I'd still prefer to like keep it vague.
Yeah.
Like you guys know where I was and what. But anyway, I
Mhm.
ended up starting a games club there with a couple of the co-workers, and honestly, we'd just like play fucking Mario Kart and all the time. It was great
Mm-hmm.
until it turned into Uno Club.
I mean, I guess that's the thing with Nintendo.
To be fair, Uno crisps, a couple of pints, good time.
You know what? That sounds like a shout.
like
Just grab a bunch of people, stick in a room, couple of beers,
I was
Uno,
gonna say, like,
Doritos.
thing you can say about Nintendo consoles is that they're always gonna have those expected multiplayer games that are just you can just grab like a bunch of friends together and have a good time with. Like you always expect those like Mario Kart and Smash and all that stuff to be a thing. So
In my circle, I was good at Smash. But I'm still terrible at Smash, and to be fair, I was considered competitive in that circle.
Bro,
that is
you use Dancing Blade to recover. That's not what it's for. I keep telling you this. Every time.
Misinput!
No, that is no. Okay, it happens far too many times for that to be a misinput, bro.
You stick jump.
okay. I think this is just at this point.
Okay, I can
yeah.
explain why it's a misinput, and this is important.
Okay.
And I want this on the record.
Okay.
The way I hold controllers and the way Smash works with directional input that works better with a D-pad than an analog stick, despite my insistence using an analog stick for comfort, is my thumb will tilt left. So that is why I keep doing a side air with my main, which makes it look like a recovery.
I see.
I'm
That's not-
trying to do an up air.
You up B, bro.
Up B, same thing. I'm bad at Smash.
Okay.
Yeah. I think at this point we're kind of just talking about gaming in general. We kind of.
Bottom line with me, right, is that I don't play games to have my life changed. I play games to
Well, no.
fucking sit down, waste time, and have fun.
I mean,
Like, for
it
God's
depends.
sake.
Like, what is it? I play different games for different reasons. Like, if I want to play like a life-changing experience or whatever, I'd play like a long RPG or whatever. If I want to just have a fun time, like I would just play like a cozy platformer or like a party game. Like, it depends what I'm like. I pick the specific games to play depending on the mood I'm in.
It's like
I want a
go
good
on.
story with a solid action loop. That's what I want.
Yeah,
It's a pixel game, but play Blaster Master Zero. It's really fucking good.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
There's the story spans like through 3 games, but the games are really cheap. But they are just that's the game that I was talking about earlier. That I sat down, played it, and it ended up being one of my favorite fucking games of all time.
Damn.
Like through the whole saga, and just I had that same feeling after finishing the last finishing Blastmaster Zero 3 as I did finishing Toradora. It was
Oh,
that fucking bad.
that's crazy actually, because I know how much
I-
Toradora like spoke to you or whatever.
You know how much that speaks to me. So Blaster Master Zero, upon finishing Game 3, it's just one of those games where I just wanted more, but I just felt so empty inside
Yeah.
because it was just done.
I can say that as
Yo.
well. If
Like Harry knows, like you just said, you know how much Toradora speaks to me.
Oh, I know
and
about Toradora.
oh yeah.
and like when
I was there.
yeah, you were there.
I mean,
Like,
we
you
could
rem-
probably do an episode of that series at some point. Honestly,
It's
I
on
wouldn't
the
mind
list.
I wouldn't mind just a sole Toradora episode of the SEESCast. Not gonna lie.
yeah.
Might be a rewatch, but yeah, I've
Like-
got
like
Crunchyroll now.
I-
Like
yeah,
to
maybe.
me, the kind of experience watching playing Blaster Master Zero through the whole trilogy is the same as finishing Toradora.
Honestly,
Like
if
you're glad you experienced it, but but at the same time, it's done, and you just sit there with like post Toradora depression.
yeah.
And it's not just us. I've seen the Toradora subreddit, and they all say the same fucking thing.
No, it's so funny. Like I see so many people like, we want season 2. woo."
You're not getting a season 2,
It's
and
not-
you don't need a season
it's
2. Season 2 ruins the concept.
No, I think what we need is a season 1.5. Like we need a season that fills in the
Season
gap.
1.5 be like a side story.
No, I
Let's
mean,
put it-
well, I mean,
let's
like,
put it this
we need. I would want a season that's like it fills in the gap between like the last episode just kind of speeds things up to the end. Like, I want to know like what happens during that time.
A
Yeah,
lot of
Ryuji gets
depression
fucking-
and moping around.
Yeah, Ryuji just gets headbutted, and that's how it ends.
Yeah, but,
But
either
like,
way.
let's put it this way. Like you said, season 2 would ruin it. Look at Megamind. Megamind was a standalone movie. It was great. We got more Megamind content after years because people wanted it. That Megamind content was shit.
I've never seen it, but like,
I mean, to be fair, that company does a lot of that bullshit and ruins a lot of their fucking IPs side, but
Yeah, it's
people
good-
just like, it's not a movie, it doesn't count with that company.
there's a thing as well. Like sometimes with series, it's best to just stop where they are.
They
because it's like
They made a 3D animated cartoon for kids based on Spirit that continues the story and is basically just Barbie.
Yeah, that's like something like Devil's a Part-Timer. Like season 1 was great, like it was a great series, and I was like people wanted a continuation for years, and then we finally got
Yes.
it, and it was mid as hell. So it's like maybe sometimes it's best to just let things be.
That was just a colossal fuck up.
Yeah,
You could do Devil's a Part-Timer season 2 and have it be fucking amazing.
yeah,
But the biggest fucking problem with Devil's a Part-Timer 2 is it's not about literally Satan working in McDonald's
it's about
with
weird, like,
with like other ships spilling in occasionally and it getting dealt with. The reason why 1 worked so good is when the occasional spilling happened, it ran as my master. Blah blah blah. It's like, dude, chill. You can live here, but you got to get a fucking job.
yeah.
We're
Like,
done. We're chilling. The other world, not my fucking problem. We lost.
Yeah,
Who cares?
season 2 just ended up. There's so many just massive lore dumps and exposition and all this, and it's like I didn't come
It's
to.
too dramatic. It's too Like, it unreverse isekais the reverse isekai.
Yeah, I was trying really hard to get into it, but I just lost
I watched it as
interest.
it released because the dub came out basically day after the sub.
Yeah.
Because I don't watch anime in sub.
Mm.
I have a good reason for this.
Yeah.
I'm not too fussed about the voice acting. Most companies in the modern day will sync the lips to the English and other countries' dub. And, well, the voice acting now is a level of professionalism because it's a multi-million industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to watch the anime, not
read it.
the
Yes.
anime.
Yeah, no,
Because the reason why
I get
so
it.
many sub people end up skipping ahead on the end of a season by reading entire manga to completion, and then basically going when the show comes back out, it's like, oh, well, this is right. You know what's happening next? Ha ha ha. Or doing what my brother did. Oh, I already know how this ends. It's like, fuck you. I don't care. Jump. It's annoying.
Anyway, are we going to wrap up?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'll-
we're kind
I'll
of just turning
close
into an
this.
anime podcast now.
I'll close this in a second. It's like I'm just gonna say one more thing, and then I'll start running the outro before someone gets the chance to butt in,
Yeah, fair.
which will be very difficult, Lewis.
Excuse me, I've done that least tonight.
Sure, bud.
Fair.
Fuck. No.
Anyway, as I was saying, yes, I watch dubbed anime, which can be incredibly difficult because the dubs do not end up having a very standard scheduled release for the actual dubbing, and whether the dub is done at the same time as the sub, because, you know, availability and access to a there's usually a stagger on it, because go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for watching. We have been Joe, Harry, and Lewis, and Scrappy was here for what time that he could stomach it, other various issues and things going on.
He was disintegrated.
Thanos got him.
We may continue doing Generation 6 of the
I think
consoles.
it's a guarantee at
I
this
think,
point.
yeah, if there's too many stuff to talk about that we haven't touched on yet, yeah.
I will discuss that as soon as we end quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe Lewis will go straight to bed.
I mean, it'll be if we be quick about it.
If we're
Yeah.
quick about it, but I see it dragging. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys all enjoyed, and we'll catch you on the next one, which should be Friday in 2 weeks, sometime evening GMT to shoot Seize time.
Yeah. Also, play the Blaster Master Zero games. That's all I need to say.
As long as the
Bitch, I might.
as long as
for
Jerry
it.
doesn't forget this time.
I try not to forget, but I can be flaky with memory. I have issues.
Yeah.
Actual medically diagnosed issues, not the other issues, which is
That's
still probably
fair.
worse.
Yeah. Anyways, bye.
Bye.
See ya.